1.
Продовжуємо засідання. Прошу запросити
Let's resume the broadcast. Please invite Shtifonov Pavlo Serhiiovych into the room.
Доброго дня.
Good afternoon.
Розглядається питання щодо відповідності
We are
кандидата.
considering the issue on compliance of candidate for position of the judge of the High Anti-Corruption Court.
Штіфанова Павла Сергійовича
Shtifonov Pavlo Serhiiovych,
критеріям, передбаченим
with
частиною
criteria set out by Part 4 of Article 8 of the Law of Ukraine on the HAC, we have members of the PCA present: Ruben Heimbrukas and Chaser, Norman As remotely, Mary Kate Butler remotely, Gabriela Yotkaita Gronskiena, John J. O'Sullivan, Lloyd Jessica Lon Thompson remotely, members of the HQCJ of Ukraine: Михайло Боганіс, Людмила Волкова, Віталій Гацелюк, Роман Дух, Надія Купецька, Олег Колюш, Ігор Кушнір, Руслан Мельник, Олексій Молян, Андрій Пасічник, Роман Слободаш, Руслан Федорович, Галина Шевчук.
Ви маєте право заявляти
You have the right to request recusals, to submit motions upon permission of the chair, express your views and objections, and challenge decisions of the commission. Do you have recusal requests?
Дякую.
Thank you. No recusal request. Thank you.
Доповідачем з цього
The
питання.
rapporteur on you is Commission member Kobetska Nadia. Please, the floor is yours.
Дякую.
Thank you.
Загальна інформація про кандидата.
General information about the candidate. In 2005, Shtifonov Pavlo Serhiiovych graduated from Luhansk Academy of Internal Affairs of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Ukraine and obtained higher education under specialty law enforcement activities, obtained the lawyer's qualification. In 2006, he graduated from the Bar Academy of Ukraine and got the master's diploma.
Чинне звання, науковий ступінь
He
кандидата
does not have the academic degree and title. With respect to the professional activities of the candidate, then starting from 2005, after graduation from the university, until 2008, he worked
слідчим
as investigator and operational investigator in internal affairs bodies. Starting from 2008 to 2009, he was the lawyer at an enterprise. Then on the 30th of January of 2009, he obtained the attorney's license, and right now he is an attorney, self-employed person, founder of the law firm. Starting from July the 1st of 2025 until the 21st of July of 2025.
Вірніше, до сьогодні, як я розумію, тому що
Until now.
йде мова про дату заяви.
Now we are talking about the date of the application. Okay, starting from the July 1st of 2025, he has been the lawyer in LLC Vic Technology. As mentioned before, the candidate has professional experience of at least 7 years as an attorney, and basically that was a ground for his admission to this competition and his participation in this competition. Properly submitted the required documents, in particular declaration of family ties, integrity declaration, declaration of the person authorized to perform functions of the state or local self-governance. During the conduct of the competition, the commission sent a request to respective public authorities. We received responses. All of them are available in the candidate's dossier, and the candidate had a chance to look through his dossier. Thank you. That's it from my side.
Дякую.
Thank you.
Чи в повному обсязі надана базова інформація? Можливо, щось
Is basic information complete? Maybe you would like to add something? Yes, everything is correct.
Пане Роберте,
Okay, thank you.
передаю вам
Mr.
слово.
Robert, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. My name is Robert Broekhuizen. Is it okay if I call you Pavlo?
Напротив.
Yes. I'm the
Okay.
rapporteur in your case, so I will be starting to ask you some questions. And the first question I have is that when I read the information about you, I thought, why is this guy wanting to become a judge? And when I read the answers to the questions, the answer you gave to the questions that we raised, you said that you saw being a Hak judge not something like a career step, but more a responsibility to society. And maybe you can explain what you mean with that, because it sounds as if that you offer yourself to the Hak to become a judge, and that the Hak should be glad to invite you in. Or is that a misrepresentation on my side? So can you explain what you mean, why you want to become a Hak judge, and what you meant with that you didn't see this as a career step?
Дякую.
Thank you.
Ну, хочу пояснити.
I would like to explain that you are absolutely right. On the one hand, indeed, my experience will be useful for the Hak, but the main thing that I wanted to convey is that my many years of experience as an attorney allowed me to understand that the judge is not an ordinary figure who is just resolving the cases. A lot depends on who is sitting in the judge's chair, because I was the witness of how sometimes judges were very thorough and responsible in listening to both the parties and reaching some conclusion. They respect both parties, but sometimes I witnessed situations how some persons were purely formally present in court hearings, and basically they were not interested in the consideration of the case. I believe that the first example is the most correct behavior of a judge during a court hearing. The judge has to respectfully treat both parties, to thoroughly study case materials, etc. And I'm convinced that the judge is an impartial arbitrator who should impartially resolve all the cases. And the judge acts not in the interests of one of the parties, but in the interest of the society, in the interest of the state, so that each case is resolved fairly and impartially and legally. As an attorney, I have realized that in the attorney's activities, I'm sometimes limited by the in terms of the consideration of actions, because I'm acting, after all, in the interest of a client. I have to achieve some outcome, and no matter what, I'm defending the interest of the client. On the contrary, the judge is not defending anyone's interests. The judge is an impartial arbitrator who has to resolve the case in such a manner that each of the parties has no questions to the judge. For example, even if the person who is losing in the decision has to understand why this particular decision has been adopted, and so that the person would respect the decision. That's why.
Can you be a bit concise, please? Because I have many questions for you. So, yes.
Okay, understood. Yes. So, I treat this position with huge responsibility. My experience, in my opinion, allows me being useful for this court. Why I wrote that? I wrote it like that because I cannot consider it as purely career growth, because that's huge responsibility before this. And I would like to be the judge, the image of which I have ingrained in my mind since the beginning of my career. When the judge is attentive, reasonable, sensitive, sensible in terms of the merits of the case, and the judge is aimed at not adopting convenient decisions, but rather legal and fair decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. I would appreciate if you could answer the questions a bit more concise, because of course, I know that you want to explain and express fully on the question. On the other hand, we are limited in time, and to have a full grasp of who you are and what you do. That would be helpful. When I read your responses and your letters, I noticed that you are proud of, because we asked you, what are you proud of? And then you answered that the release of clients from custody you were proud of, that you got them released, or that the release of illegally seized funds, property and documents you were proud of. And I'm an attorney as well, and sometimes I'm proud when I'm able to achieve this, but also I'm sad that I was able to achieve this, because then illegal funds come in the open society again, and people are released that should not be released because of what I've done. And if you're a judge, you're completely in a different mood. You cannot be proud as a judge that you release someone who's put into custody. You understand what I tried to point out to you?
Я розумію.
Yes? So can you reflect on that?
Так, можу.
Yes, I can.
Я хочу пояснити, що
So I would like to explain that in particular, and even now, to my professional activities, I'm trying already to be such, some kind of impartial person. And when I was dealing with commercial and civil cases, I tried to perform the role of a certain kind of a mediator to appease the parties, to apply beyond judicial procedures, to explain the client maybe where he is or she is wrong. At criminal cases, I always try to dig into details of the case. And if the person is indeed innocent, I fight till the very end for acquitting this person. If the person is guilty, then sometimes I explain that sometimes to plead guilty is the right decision. And in those cases which I mentioned, I was sure that deprivation of liberty, of detention of a person was done illegally, and when this person was liberated from the custody, that yes, I ensure that no relevant measure was applied. This person further performed civil duties as it was required. No were claims against them raised. And the property also. I also mentioned the property that was obtained in a legal way, not those cases where you could be ashamed of helping someone who then would avoid responsibility for a commitment of something, or that you helped someone to actually to illegally handle and alienate the property illegally obtained. But no, in those cases, I was sure that this person was innocent. And being a judge, indeed, I would be impartial in consideration of each case, and there could be cases when pre-trial investigation authorities demand detention of certain persons when there are no preconditions to detain them. But in other cases, something it could be justified and logical. So in each case, you shall dig into details and make a fair legal decision.
Okay, I think you should be very careful to say that your client is hasn't done anything and he's innocent, because clients, in my experience, often lie in criminal cases, also to their attorney. You have been an assistant to a member of parliament, I have seen, and you also have been a member of a political party I've never heard of, but called Nash Gray or something. And you've also been involved in a group, a deputy group, Dovira. You have been, let's say, on a list to be elected in local, let's say, boards. Can you tell me something about your political independence? Are you politically independent?
Дякую.
Thank you. Yes, indeed, I am politically independent. If I've got you right, you mentioned that I were a political party member. No, it's not right. It's not right. I was never member of any political party. Indeed, some time ago, I was considered as an assistant of MP on voluntary basis since 2019 to 2024. In my explanations, I gave all the details, why it happened and how it happened. If it's necessary, I will repeat my explanations. If not, I want to say that I have never been involved into any kind of political activities. I acted only at the role of a lawyer. My work was required, my help was required specifically in criminal cases initiated by this member of parliament based on his request. So nothing else. I was never been involved into any political activities, and I was never a member of any political party. Regarding balloting,
But I have noticed that you took part in a local election in 2015 and as a candidate for a political party.
Так.
Yes. In the local elections,
2015
So you were
2015.
involved in politics, weren't you? Yes.
Я поясню.
I will explain.
Членом партії я не був.
I was never a member of political party. And I explained it in the written explanations. And again, I'm reiterating, in 2014, when there were elections to the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine,
Я був запрошений
I was invited
для того, щоб консультувати
to provide consultations
виборчий штаб
to the headquarters of political party citizens' position, громадянська позиція in Ukrainian language name, to explain the provisions of legislation, how observers shall act in certain situations, members of the national, regional, district commissions, in order to notice all possible violations and what shall be done during calculations of votes. I carried out a workshop. I provided drafts of different templates, of different documents regarding how to draft different kind of documents, such as acts, claims, so on. So it was exclusively legal activity. Then, after that kind of work, my acquaintance Supranov, I mentioned his name also, he invited me into those activities, and as further I found out, he was the head of the Kyiv Svatoshin district office of that political party. After 2015, he already knew me, he knew me as a professional and decent person, and
Limit your answers, because of course we have read what you have seen, and the people who are looking at your interview have also a right to know, but you don't repeat exactly what you've written to us. So, of course, I've seen that, and I would appreciate if you limit your answers a bit. Because if I
тому
read,
що, якщо
the only question I have is that
єдине питання, яке в мене зараз є,
you said here just now,
ви сказали
didn't
тільки
have
що,
any real
що ви не давали,
involvement.
у вас не було жодного політичного залучення, але ми помітили, що ви були кандидатом від політичної партії.
I have no Ukrainian translation in my ear.
Немає перекладу.
Будемо з'ясовувати.
Зараз чути.
Please repeat again, there was some kind of technical problem. Please repeat again your question. Can you hear me right now?
Могли б повторити, оскільки не було перекладу.
I asked whether you were politically involved or were a member of a party or a political involvement, and you said no, I don't have that. And I asked you, but you took part in a local election 2015 for a political party, and that's it. Indicates that there was a political activity for a political party. Yes or no?
Так, я був
Yes.
залучений до списку.
I was involved into the lists of candidates on local elections, but at those lists it was mentioned that I'm not associated with any kind of political party, and this is mentioned in the data of the Central Election Commission, and I mentioned why. So I was suggested to be included into the list, and if I am selected, then I can be involved into the work of members of local parliaments in order to start working on developing well-being of our country. So I have and any other political activities before it or after that, I have not been involved. I was not elected, and that's why I didn't do any political activity. I have not met with the leadership of that political party.
Okay, thank you. I have noted that you have been 3 times visiting occupied Crimea. 2014, but also later, if I'm not mistaken, 2018. Can you briefly explain the reasons for this? Briefly.
Добре. Так, тричі.
Yes, 3 times I visited. One visit was in 2014. I explained to the PCIe the reasons before occupation of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea. Because with my family, we had visited the Crimea each year before the occupation, as my mom's apartment was located there, and last time we were there in 2013, and at that moment in 2013 I was attacked and beaten, and in 2013 the criminal proceeding was initiated regarding bringing me the physical injury. So during 2013 there was communication with an investigator, and I was expecting to be summoned to the court. After occupation in June, I received a letter at my post address that this proceeding will be re-registered according to the Russian Federation legislation. And so, first of all, in order to visit my sister after occupation, so how everything was going on with her after occupation, and to clarify the details and state of affairs of that proceeding, whether it's going to be considered under Ukrainian legislation, I visited for a few days. Indeed, I clarified that all authorities were captured and they were not under subordination of Ukrainian authorities. I realized that there will be no sense, there will be no consideration of a case. I have met my sister, and then I left. In 2016, because with my family, we went for a holiday to Lazurne village in the Kherson region, not far away located from the Crimea. My sister found out about this fact. At that moment, she was amidst the painful divorce with her husband. So she asked me, before we going back to Kiev, to visit her, to support her, because she wanted to see us, her nephew so much, and her nephews, so my children, wanted to see her also so much. So after Lazurne holiday, we visited her for a few days to see her and support her in such difficult life situation. In 2018, we planned to fly to my mom in Italy together with my family. My sister again found out about it, and she asked me, before going to Italy to my mom, to come to her. She wanted to give her some gifts, and also she wanted me to meet her future second husband, with whom she married in 2018. So for a few days in 2018, indeed, just because of these reasons, I visited the Crimea. I had no relation at all with the occupation authorities and no communication at all. Thank you.
Thank you for your answer. We have noted when we were looking at your information that we can find you on a website of the LLC Legal Consulting Odin Stoff and Partners. I just looked it up and you're still there on the website. It's correct, huh? Maybe my pronunciation is wrong.
Адвокатське
So, ST Partners Law Association, indeed, it's true. Since 2015, I had worked for a certain period of time as an attorney. I declared it in my declarations, and it's also available in my dossier. Then,
we have seen that. The point is that you say that you stopped working for them, but you're still on their website.
For now, the Lawyer Association ST Partners doesn't carry out any activities at all. As far as I remember, they stopped carrying out any activities since 2019, and I don't follow what's published on their website, and I don't know what's the reason for it.
Okay. Well, I looked at it just a minute ago, and I saw that you're there. And when I read your answers, I understand that you were not a partner there, but you were on a contract basis. You worked for them. Is that correct?
As you have asked me also regarding another law firm, I found out that you perceive this word partner as the owner or something like this. Yeah, indeed, in such sense, as partner, as an owner, I was not in such sense. I was a partner as a colleague, as a lawyer. In Ukraine, very often, it happens like this. A person could be mentioned as a partner, but it's not like a co-owner or co-founder or head. But no, it's like a business partner. When colleagues unite their efforts and on the parity basis and on the basis of equality, they work. That's how I was a partner for them.
Okay, thank you. And when I read it with my, let's say, experience, I would say partner means co-owner, but I understand your explanation. It also says that you have quite substantial experience internationally. What experience do you have internationally?
Regarding extensive international experience, I'm not sure that I have international experience. I'm sorry, where did you see it?
On the website, with your name. Your be a bio under your name, it says. Well, it's not so important, of course.
Maybe it's more related to the fact that the company itself cooperates with other international companies, and I joined a team of lawyers who actually helped to establish offices of such international companies in the territory of Ukraine. But beyond the borders of Ukraine, I didn't have any international practice.
Okay, but it's the fact is that I read in your bio that you have vast international experience, so I was wondering about that. Then from my information, it shows that in 2023 and 2024, you declared an income of 10.3 billion hryvnias, which is something like $264,000 from one client. And when I was reading that, I thought, how is this possible? Because it's so much money. How were you able to earn so much money on this one client for this 1 year? Because before that, you didn't have much income. And after that, also it was limited. And you have one client. And then, suddenly the ship with gold enters the harbor. How is it possible that you earn so much?
I also explained it, and I will repeat myself again, that at the beginning of 2023, my colleague recommended me to the owner of that company, which you have mentioned. Starting in 1999, this company has been operating both on the Ukrainian market and international market, but they have never had any legal department or in-house lawyers at all. At that moment, they had this need. De facto, I was hired in order to establish an external legal department of this organization and to solve a full range of questions and problems that they have accumulated during their previous long period of activities. A lot of tasks were posed in front of me, and as the agreement on provision of legal services allowed me to engage assistance, I established a certain team of my peer colleagues, lawyers from different areas of specialization, and we completed a range of different tasks required by this organization. In particular, we have also regulated all issues of labor relations at the organization. We prepared internal instructions. We carried out audit of internal activities, documents, how all the agreements were concluded, including
the question was I had to you is how are you able to earn so much money? What did you charge them per hour, or did you have an agreement that they would pay you $150,000 per year? Or so what was the agreement financially with it? Because it's clear that you worked for them, that you did all kinds of different work, but to hire a lawyer here in Ukraine and pay him, what was it, $264,000 seems to be a lot of money for ordinary in-house kind of law. You can hire a lawyer that makes the internal documents for maybe 1/10.
Yeah, you are right. And the discussions are always ongoing. And at that moment, I was recommended as a specialist who could handle such issues. And it was agreed with the client regarding the price. And this price was agreed between me and the client. Yes, very often such question is being asked, that why you have such service or not.
What did you agree? An amount per month, per hour? Oh yes, again, the wrong channel, I guess. Something wrong. I have Ukrainian translation again in my. You're missing Ukrainian translation.
З'явилось тепер, так. Robert, do you have translation?
I don't. Hello.
We have Ukrainian translation.
I know. I hear nothing. No English.
Немає.
English channel, English channel, English channel is working. English channel,
Working.
English channel.
Okay, so please explain what you agreed with your client, how he was going to pay you. Was it per month? Was it per hour, per minute, per year?
So as we signed the act of work done, we decided on the sum for the amount of work done. And after that, we reached certain agreement about the sum that is stated in the act of the work done. And I provided you copies of that document. And I have been asked these questions often by clients or in courts, why the price is like this. I opted for this price because of my knowledge and experience, and clients may accept or refuse it. This is why the market has lower prices and higher prices, and this is up to the client. So clients may refuse it, refuse my service, and then they come back because my service is greater.
But I understand that what you say is that you had experience in corporate law. Is that what you say? For the internal hygiene of the company, that you were very good in this, and that's the reason they paid you for the work contracted a lot of money. When we look in the agreement, we don't see an amount mentioned. So how can we see what was contracted?
Ціна не
So the
зазначалася.
fact that it was contracted, you cannot see because the sum was not stated in the contract. The contract said that the parties will agree on sums in the acts after the work is done. And then the sum was transferred to my account.
And did you provide us with those acts?
Я надавав їх в якості
I
додатків.
have submitted them as annexes to my explanations. I submitted them as scanned copies of all the acts.
I have not seen those. And tell me, did you hire other people to perform this work?
Уточніть, будь ласка, я не дуже зрозумів.
Could you clarify?
Well, did you do
Didn't
the
quite
work
understand.
only by yourself, or did you hire other lawyers for the company to do this work? That you were, let's say, someone who hired in other lawyers.
Да. Да,
Yes, yes.
як я спочатку пояснив,
As I explained in the beginning, the workload was high and I couldn't do it on my own. And there were also some issues where I'm not a specialist in. This is why I engaged other colleagues who could help with their expertise and help me handle that workload. What I took up is coordination. I coordinated the activities of my colleagues and also talked to the management. I was in the meetings. I met the clients, the counter agents, and I coordinated the colleagues that I engaged so that all the tasks are completed on time and well. And then I checked the quality and reported to the enterprise. I didn't do many things myself because I didn't have experience in those areas. In corporate sphere, due diligence, compliance, those issues, I gave them to my colleagues. There were also tax disputes, and I again engaged other colleagues to deal with them.
But you just told me that this company hired you because you have such specific knowledge. But now you tell me that you had to hire other people who had this specific knowledge. How does this work?
Компанія мене найняла, оскільки
So the company hired me because I was recommended by a colleague as an owner of the owner of the company recommended me because she was confident of my professional qualities, and I was able to organize the process of completion of the task and engage the necessary specialists to handle the tasks. And I was able to coordinate their work and ensure the quality of their work. So what mattered was my reputation.
And I understand you had a reputation in this type of work, let's say corporate commercial contracting and corporate work, let's say for the hygiene of the company. Is that your...
не найм. Ні, не щодо репутація в професійній.
Well, reputation in the professional sphere among colleagues regarding the fact that I'm an honest man, a professional man, and as long as I'm taking something up, it will be completed, done through, and it will be done well. And there will be no doubt that something was not done or done incorrectly or harmfully. So it is always not really obvious who you hire for a certain position. You need to have trust in that person, and they did have trust in myself. And whoever does the work, they don't care. What they care is that I guarantee the work is done and the enterprise functions correctly and legally.
But I guess they needed to have some idea that you were knowing what you were talking about, I guess. But they thought that you were a corporate lawyer.
Як я пояснив вже на початку,
As I explained, I was hired
зовнішній юридичний відділ.
as
Вони розуміли,
by the external legal department, and they understood that I will engage a certain circle of colleagues in order to resolve issues.
я спеціалізуюся щодо певних інших сфер.
So I specialize in other spheres, but I guarantee that I know the specialists who could handle the issues the enterprise was interested in. And also I mentioned that in the further years, the enterprise increased its revenues, and this is among those a merit of mine and of my colleagues.
But my guess is that you earned your money by hiring out other lawyers that you contracted for a very low price yourself and then charged for a much higher price to the company. Is that correct?
З компанією ми домовлялися про певну
So with the company, we agreed on the sum that was suitable both for them and for myself. And of course, I was interested in having the money that I'd agreed with the colleagues. So of course, I wanted to sort of get a commission from what I got. It was one of my tasks to earn money.
Why did you stop working for this client? And I think in 2024, after a year, you stopped working for this client. Why?
Ну, ще раз наголошую на тому, що
Well,
з самого заснування працювали без юристів.
since the beginning, they worked without lawyers, without legal department, and I was there on a temporary basis to resolve the condensed problems, accumulated problems, so that the enterprise could work without lawyers and legal department again, to make things seamless. And as soon as the problematic issues were resolved and the work was set up, they did not need my services any longer. And as of September 2024, and we signed the cessation of services, and then since October, I no longer worked with them, and we did not resume the existing one. We did not conclude any new one.
Which was a pity because then you lost this enormous income. Were you not sad that in 2025 you were only able to assemble $9,300 approximately, if I understand your declarations well?
Чому складає? Я нічого не втратив, навпаки, я
I
заробив.
didn't lose anything. I actually earned something, and I made some savings for the future. And in our profession, it happens so that at times you've got a client with good revenues, high revenues, and everyone knows that. Then at other period you have lower income, and at some times you have no income at all. And this is all about entrepreneurship, and I do not regret it. And after 2025, when I didn't have income in 1 year and I just lived on my savings, I met that client that enabled me to restore my savings, and I'm not concerned about my financial future anymore.
Okay, thank you. One other question. I have noted that you're a member of the Bar Association, that you have some, let's say, comments on how this is organized in Ukraine. That you have some comments about functioning of the Bar Association. Is that correct?
Ну, я адвокатом в 2009 році. На той
So
момент
in 2009, I became a lawyer and an attorney, and the high qualification commission bar commission was a bit different. In 2012, a new law was adopted on attorneys' activities and bar association, and all the attorneys become members automatically of this bar association, and that was an NGO. And I'm a member of this association currently. And then there is the Attorneys Council, regional councils, and there are disciplinary committees there for each region.
What I understand is that you have difficulty with the procedures of the Bar Association for improving the professional level of an attorney. Is that correct?
Що ви маєте на увазі? Я не дуже розумію.
What do you mean exactly? I didn't quite understand.
Well, I understand that, and I have to look at my. What I understand is that you had difficulties with improving your professional abilities by courses or exams or to make sure that you become a better lawyer. And or is this, we understood this incorrect?
Жодних труднощів немає.
Actually, no difficulties. The law on bar associations and attorneys says that each lawyer has to improve their qualification annually, and I do this. Maybe you are talking about the fact that recently the process of improving qualification was not handled correctly by the National Association. And I actually do have some concerns about it, and I submitted my concerns in writing. Also, the copies of procedural documents where my thoughts are stated on the topic. So, if to speak more concretely, so since the foundation of the National Bar Association, a new order of capacity building was adopted. And that was made as an obligatory measure. So we were supposed to get certificates until certain time. That was done through councils, through fees, members' fees, and that was a good decision. But at a certain point, the National Association, Bar Association, decided that they want to earn money on lawyers, and they set up a special body, which is not an educational one, and they obliged all the lawyers to build their capacity in that particular body, that particular entity, and to pay additionally for this. And many lawyers have doubts where that money goes to and where the members' fees cover. Recently, the National Bar Association hasn't reported on this. In 2022, the management was supposed to dismiss, and the courts councils are re-elected regularly, and here the attorneys, the lawyers council have not been re-elected. And actually, it's not about capacity building, but about just ticking off boxes and issuing some papers. And this is not about capacity building.
I just noted that there was a complaint filed against you by someone because of your attitude here. I'm just looking at my colleagues. Any further questions? No? Mary? Questions? Jessica, Norman? I cannot see you well because I'm not wearing my glasses. No, no, no. I think we are done, Mr. Chair.
Щодо скарги, може пояснити.
Дякую.
And about the complaint, I could make a couple of words. If I heard correctly, it was about the complaint that the High School of Bar Association submitted a complaint that I appealed.
Давайте ми дочекаємось, пане
So, pardon me, let us wait. Candidate could provide additional explanations. Do we need it, or will we transition to the commission members' questions and answers?
Ви надаєте нам
Я все.
можливість. Добре. Дякую. Колеги.
Okay, thank you. Then rapporteur has some questions. Thank you so much. I actually wanted to check the issues that were raised by Robert. And as Robert said, we have a request from CSOs, and a part of these issues have been also already covered because those issues are sensitive for the public. And I can move on with some questions. And as Robert gave you some observations, we read through your explanations thoroughly. Try to be laconic, just say yes or no. So, your participation in your political sphere. And I also wanted to ask you a different question. In your questionnaire, you said that you were a member of Vasilkivsky, member of council Vasilkiv Gромада, and in Kyiv, Svetoshin, and Vishnivska village council. But I'm reading your explanation about Kyiv Svetoshin council, and you're saying that you didn't know about this. How could you submit applications? And there is a number of documents that could not be submitted without your will, but you were included in the ballot lists. And this is an important issue, isn't it? Electing the candidates is important, and the candidate didn't even know that they were included in the list.
Особа, яка хотіла включити мене до списків, пояснила, чому я погодився з приводу того, що
політична... that the political position of this party was typical for me as well back then, and that back then the political party civic position declared aspiration towards European integration, support of small and medium-sized business, as well as strengthening of the defense capacity of Ukraine. Sorry, the question is related to the fact that you were not at all aware of being included into this list. Did you sign the document? Yeah, I submitted necessary documents, and that person submitted. You just forgot about that. It was more than 10 years ago. I was not elected. I did not keep the documents. Okay, thank you. With respect to follow up on Mr. Roberts' questions and trips to Crimea, that issue is raised by civil society organizations. And also, I would like to clarify that you said that you were going to see your sister in 2018 for 4 days. But probably you could also see in our documents that we have received from respective bodies on trips of your sister. Then we can see from this document that on the 8th, rather on May 3rd of 2018, she left the territory of Crimea onto the territory of Ukraine, and on the 8th of May, she moved from Kyiv to Italy, but we didn't have any information about her trip back. according to official data, she went to Italy, and in July you went to visit her in Crimea. Do I have to explain that? Yes, please. As far as I know, she got here foreign passport of a citizen of Ukraine, and she went to see our mother. Back then, as far as I know, she also received the passport of the Russian Federation, because that was the main requirement for staying, to live there, and to have some rights and property. So everyone was forced to receive that passport. Otherwise, it would be impossible to visit. So, in short, probably she entered not through the territory of Ukraine, but probably she returned through the territory of other countries. Okay, understood. Thank you. And another point is that civil society organization has provided us, I don't know whether you will refute that or no, we cannot check that, we don't have access, but we see that on the 11th, in 2014, at Russian website with domain Pravetru, there is an application of an attorney with a surname that fully coincides with yours. And on the 11th of September of 2014, under this publication, there is a question that is being asked to you by a person from Rostov-on-Don, and you are providing the response according to the Russian legislation. So, first of all, is that your profile on that web page, and did you provide consultations based on Russian legislation after 2014? I cannot answer about that. I do not know about this registration. If someone registered with this data, that was not me. And I did not provide such consultations regarding the Russian legislation. Okay, thank you. I know nothing about this website, but we have to ask this question because this information has been submitted to us. Okay, thank you. In the context of continuation of what Mr. Robert asked, that is about Aroma land, just tell us directions of activities of this enterprise and the staff. Number of people in the staff. Well, as of the moment of providing services, the staff was consisting of 5 persons, a director, accountant, and several employees. As far as I know, the key directions are about production and sale of aromatizers. Yes. They're working on the market of Ukraine, and they also have external economic contracts. In detail, you can find about the activities from the website. I've provided the website. Okay, thank you. The next question that I would like to separately discuss about your place of residence and registration. Where do you reside right now, and where are you registered now? I'm registered in the city of Kyiv at Mostitska Street, 14, apartment 140. Please don't name the apartment. So, Kitty, yes. And my actual place of residence is the city of Kyiv, Honhadze Avenue. Yes, I understand the context of your question. Yes, the Chapilivka. What about that? Yes. Once I started working at the enterprise that you mentioned at the beginning, I will not go into detail. That enterprise is critical and engages in some activities. Do you have a temporary place of registration there, or how do you live there? In terms of my activities, there was a need to go there for tests of the equipment, of those devices that are produced for the Ministry of Defense. I'm sorry, we are not interested about that. I asked you about the place of residence. Please ask. We have time limitations and we would not want to delay it. Since I was often there in summer, so employees of the Ministry of Defense advised me to get register there as a temporarily relocated person there, and to get registered with the local territorial recruitment center, not to have any questions to me. Because back then, many people were stopped there. There were questions from where. So you have the permanent place of registration and the temporary place of registration, or did you get re-registered starting from August of 2025 to Kharkiv region? No. My permanent place of registration is here in Kyiv, and there I have temporary registration of the place of stay. Okay, according to information of the National Police, starting from the 24th of February of 2024, you've again changed the place of registration. I will not name numbers of buildings, but street, that is Gongadze Avenue, where you live. And in 2024, you changed it to Osipovska Street. And then again, you returned to Gongadze Avenue. That information is not correct. I've also seen it. What Osipovska Street is, I do not know that. I've never been there. Once when I was coming to the police department in Obolon district, I guess someone also told me that. And if you pay attention to that, that's then the street and the apartment coincide with Mostitsko Street. Maybe that was some mistake during the entry of data. Do you think that it's a mistake in an official response from the National Police? Yes. Okay. You are not declaring that, and in the asset declaration, you are always showing the same place of residence. Yes. And another question is about your attitude towards military duty. That's also quite a sensitive issue nowadays. So, on the 27th, please answer yes or no. On the 27th of December of 2023, you submitted for participation in the competition for the Court of Appeal, and instead of the military registration document, you provided the temporary statement where it is reflected that in 2008 you were registered in Yevo-Bateryski Recruitment Center, and in 2010 you were registered with Podilsky Recruitment Center. On the 18th of May of 2024, the law on mobilization came into effect, which introduced mandatory update of data within 60 days. So by the 16th of July, according to this law, you were obliged to update your data. Did you update your data up till the 16th of July of 2024? Yes or no? No, I did not update it because I was not obliged to do that. What you mentioned about 60 days, but there is like after the introduction of the martial law. There are numerous explanations regarding that after the adoption of this law, the martial law was not introduced, so I did not have this duty to update data, which have not changed. When there was a need to do that, when they really changed, then I updated them. So you believe that this law is not applicable to you, so you did not have any updated data, that's why you were not obliged to update the data. It was applicable to me, but it did not give, either in my case or in the case of other students, the obligation to update data, because the martial law was not introduced after its adoption. And you are saying that you did not change any data and there was no need. Yes. But as we can see from the reports and rulings of the territorial recruitment center of Podil region, and you challenged it with the court, so the court cancelled its ruling, really saying that the respondent did not provide the copy of the summons, that which would prove that you were summoned to that court. But I paid attention to the summons, and you were also saying it was sent to the previous address where you used to live before. So probably, after all, at Mostitsko Street, yes, at the place of registration, yes. You were registered there, and then at the Gongadze Avenue, so there was a change. No, I'm still registered and still registered at Mostitsko Street. And Gongadze Avenue is my actual place of residence. So, the information from the National Police that you are registered at Honhadze Avenue is also not accurate. That's not about the place of registration, that's about the place of residence. When I'm calling 102, they usually asking about the place of residence, and I'm saying I'm registered at Mostecko-Stristo, but I live at Honhadze Avenue. That information is openly reflected everywhere. I'm not hiding that. And the summons allegedly were sent to Mostecko Street. At that address, I'm getting all the correspondence because my wife's parents live there. And at that address as the place of registration, my place of entrepreneurial activities as individual entrepreneur is registered. Okay, that ruling is cancelled. We will not discuss that. So again, we are recording now that you did not update data because you believed that we do not have the martial law. No, we do have the martial law, but it was introduced before the adoption of the law. Okay, understood. However, according to your explanations, on the 30th of June of 2025, you updated data with Podilsky Territorial and Recruitment Center. You updated data on the 30th of June of 2025. I do not remember the specific date, but before being hired, I came and updated data since I had to provide them for the reserve. And then I was hired. And then again, updated data at Zachepilevsky. Yes, you said that you updated the data on the 30th of June. Okay, on the 17th of July of 2025, from Kyiv Territorial and Recruitment Center within the competition for the Court of Appeal, we received a response to our request, which says that you are indeed registered. And the second paragraph is the following. We suggest to citizens Shtifonov to arrive to Podilsky Territorial and Recruitment Center to update the data. So, they probably did not see this data. They suggest to everyone to do that if they change. No. If the data are updated, then our responses are differently worded. But if we are saying that we suggest to update, maybe we made a mistake. Okay. On the 22nd of July 2025, you submitted an application for this competition to the Anti-Corruption Court. And again, after all, you submit the same old statement, temporary statement where you were registered in 2008. And then in 2009, we were registered with Podilsky Center. Why didn't you submit the up-to-date data? The submission of documents for this competition was done by me by means of clicking on a button, upload previously submitted documents. So from the application to the Courts of Appeal and attachments, they were automatically uploaded. And I did not pay attention to that, that it was uploaded like that. In response to your request, yesterday I provided the up-to-date information. Okay, on the 30th December of 2025, we got the letter from the same Territorial and Recruitment Center, which is saying that you are no longer registered in Kyiv. That's obvious, because on the 8th of August of 2025, you were registered with the first department of Borostensky TRC in the village of Zachepilevka in Kharkiv region, and you were mentioning about that. And 3 days later, on the 11th of August of 2025, you got deferment from conscription and accordingly deferment. Because on the 1st of July 2025, you started working with the respective company that is providing you with this deferment, right? Yes. With respect to that, I would like to ask you about the motivation, general motivation, analyzing your experience, your forms of entrepreneurial activities as an attorney. You got the license in 2009. Since 2009 until 2025, you were working as a self-employed person, individual entrepreneur, as a founder of the law firm. So, you never worked with anyone under the labor agreement. Now, on the 1st of July of 2025, you changed the form of organization of work. You concluded the labor agreement, but at the same time, we analyzed, and Mr. Robert has analyzed your honorariums paid by previous clients. And here, the salary is not like hundreds times lower.
Змінилося так
Why
ваше сприйняття цієї
why your perception of this cooperation changed so much? Because the labor agreement envisions some obligations and commitments related to working hours, discipline. For an attorney who worked as a self-employed person for 14 years and who is quite a free person, and now to change that to these conditions, what was that related to? First of all, I would like to say that not only with this enterprise, as I've mentioned in my declarations, starting from December of 2022 until April of 2023, I was a corporate secretary in a state-owned enterprise. That's slightly different. That's not a legal counsel. Yeah, here I'm more talking about the fact that the founder of this enterprise is my client since 2017, and when he was creating this company, I was helping him. Can you hear me? Yes, yes. I was helping him to create this company. Then, in order so that the enterprise is under legal supervision and so that my services could be properly received, he suggested to me to be hired for the position of the lawyer because the enterprise was included into the critical essential enterprises. So in the understanding of cooperation with the ministry, it would not be very good to get services from some external lawyer because there are some risks regarding disclosure of information. But when there is a labor agreement and the non-disclosure agreement and confidential agreement concluded during hiring, that was more convenient. Indeed, the salary is minimum there. The scope of those duties that I perform are the minimum as well, because I'm not every day there, not regularly. So that's why. Okay, and my last question is the following. In continuation of what Mr. Robert mentioned about the attorney's activities and the appeal regarding initiation of the disciplinary proceeding against you, you are challenging that. We're not talking about that. I would like to learn about your general attitudes towards the performance of duties. Article 21 envisions the duty to improve qualification, and secondly, that is obligation to fulfill decisions of bar self-governance bodies. So advanced training and performance and for fulfillment of these decisions, because the regulation that you are criticizing about the improvement of competence, that's adopted by local self-governance bodies of the bar properly. Maybe you could somehow else challenge the content of this regulation, of this procedure of advanced training that is adopted by the Bar Council in 2021 initially, then updated in 2025. So, in your opinion, if you disagree with the procedure, regulation, you can fail to perform such duties?
If it's openly illegal and not, but in this case, I would like to explain the situation that I knew that at that moment, there for a long period of time, those provisions of that procedure had been challenged at courts by other lawyers, and as far as I know, in October 2024, those provisions were cancelled. And this duty was also cancelled as considered to be illegal. Then the National Association in December 2024 has adopted some kind of new ones, and those new provisions are also being challenged. It's manipulation. The court has identified that it's illegal and unjustified to define, to have such a duty, but it was ignored. And to my opinion, it's incorrect conduct from the side of the National Bar Association of Ukraine. I do everything possible to have it in a correct manner within the framework of attorney's ethics. So only through the legal procedure, through the court, I can challenge it. Hello, Mr. Kolyosh, a coalition member. Hello. So my colleague has asked you some questions. I would like to ask you follow-up questions just to get my understanding right. So starting 24th February 2022, where have you been registered in terms of the military service? Starting the full-scale invasion, 24th February, at the Podilsky conscription center. So, yeah, Podilsky district and then Podilsky conscription center. Prior to 11th August 2025, when you've got your deferment, did you have any kind of other type of deferment or postponement of your service? No, I didn't have. And you have updated your data at the conscription office only on 30th of June 2025. Before it, you were not summoned to come, you had not updated. Now, after the start of the full-scale invasion, I visited the conscription office as many volunteers, but at that moment there were many those who wanted to join, and he said they told me that just go away, we don't need you. Whether it's documented somewhere? No, at that moment, no. At that moment, even weapons were given to volunteers without any documents and so on. So we see when you updated data, when you received a deferment, when you started working at the enterprise, which actually has a right to submit their employees for deferment. Can you confirm it with supporting documents? No, only by words. The only that I can say is that there are no claims, no issues, concerns raised regarding me by the conscription office. Please confirm again where you have been registered at Kyiv, Mostychka Street, and Kansas Avenue. That's actual place of residence. But how can you be can you receive complaints and concerns if you resided at other address? I always check the postal address there, and so in order to be often at my place of duties, professional duties. No, I'm not asking you to check it. So why do you get IDP status? The IDP status. What's your precondition to get your IDP status? No. So where are you from? What's your original IDP status? As of the moment of receiving this IDP status, I relocated to the Kharkiv region to perform my official duties. There I rented an apartment and registered there. That was an advice of the ministry. So where did you relocate from to the Kharkiv region? From Kyiv. It was an advice of those employees with whom I have been cooperating from the Ministry of Defense to avoid any potential risks of communication with the conscription office to register there. But, in order to have no questions with the conscription office starting 24th of February 22 to August 25. Yeah, but if you see, after appointment as a lawyer after 1st of July, there was no deferment because there was no need. But when I started visiting the Kharkiv region on the constant basis, they advised me, please register as a person, and but you're forced to do it. No, they advised me because you are going to be conscripted, even despite of the fact that you have this opportunity and you are eligible for the deferment. Then I can't get this puzzle, this general picture. So you said that you volunteered, but then in order to avoid problems with the conscription office and so on, so how did you do it? So your replies were different. At the beginning of the full-scale invasion, yes, I volunteered, but there was no need for me as a volunteer. Then Kyiv was not under attack to be caught, but Kyiv is not the whole Ukraine. Yes, I understand. But now I'm not a volunteer. I'm not a military volunteer. That's why I have working issues. I have some other affairs to do. Thank you. There are no other questions from my side. Hello. I'm Mr. Savrash, Commission member. I have a few questions to you. First of all, regarding your NDA agreement. So, first of all, as far as I understand, you have become a legal counsel to protect information. But what about the highest level of protection of information in order to have trust of your client to you as an attorney? Because it doesn't mean that that's the highest level of protection of information when you maintain this this trust signing an NDA as the most reliable means of protection of information of a client. Yes, we have considered this option, but as I have repeated, as I have said already before, this critical infrastructure enterprise, this enterprise cooperates with the Ministry of Defense, and this enterprise requires for such a person to be an employee of an enterprise, because if an attorney discloses advocate secrecy of a client, it will be administrative liability. But if it's related to the defense capacity of the state and critical infrastructure enterprise, it's about criminal responsibility. Okay, I'm not surprised. But then let's go to the next question, and it's related to your status as a military volunteer. Where you were as a military volunteer? At the Kiev conscription office. No, Podilsky district conscription office of the city of Kiev. Yes, where there were such fights, ongoing fights outside on the streets of Kiev, I desired to be, a military volunteer to protect my family. Yeah, I understand. But you said that you were a military volunteer. Military volunteer, that's a status of a military volunteer of territorial defense units, or what? What do you mean under military volunteer? And there is no official status. Okay, there's no official status. I just personally arrived there, expressed my vision, that's all. Okay, I just wanted to clarify your status. Yeah, we just, together with my neighbors, we blocked doors, regulated traffic outside our neighborhood and so on. Yeah, okay, next question. What's your key area of specialization? Criminal law and criminal process. Okay, then tell me, can you name any latest decision of the Constitutional Court in terms of limitation of right to movement and freedom, in particular during the martial law period? No, I can't. I was not interested in it. The Constitutional Court just explained the procedure for application of relevant provisions. No, I have not faced this issue at my practice, so I have never received any such cases before. Thank you. Mr. Serhiiovych, over to you. Hi again. My name is Sergei Chermak, Commission member, and I have a few questions to you. So, first of all, regarding your visits to the occupied territory, to the occupied Crimea, in your questionnaire, you mentioned that you had no relations with the representatives of the occupying authorities. Yes. So, did you visit Crimea through Kalanchak? At my passport it says, don't you remember which border point you crossed, checkpoint? Or you went through Russia? No, through Armyansk, I think. Perikopchik, Kalanchak, but Kalanchak checkpoint, yes. Then, tell me, but at Kalanchak, there were also authorities of the Russian authorities, the Russian bodies. So you were in touch with them? No. Yeah, there were some border guards and Russian customs. I don't know how it's called officially, but at least 2, 3, maybe FSB employees at the entry to the Crimea. So definitely you should have communicated both with the border guards of Russia and the customs officers of Russia. Don't you think that they are representatives of the occupying authorities? Sorry. Yes. But then why did you mention that you in no way communicated with representatives of the occupying authorities? No, I meant that being on the territory, I didn't communicate with representatives of the occupying civil authorities, and no one of them reached out to me regarding any task, damage, and so on. But on the line of contact, in order to cross, yes, of course. So you went there through Kalanchak, and you were in communication with border guards, and so you did mistake in your questionnaire. Yes, please. Yeah, okay, I've got your point. You made a mistake. Okay. Then the next question will be related to your income. And indeed, it outstands because, it goes beyond general understanding. In 2022, you didn't have any income at all. Yes, I didn't have any income at all. And in 2023, immediately your income, so 3,600,000, and so out of which major part it was one-time payment from one company, not one-time payment. So how many payments were done? It was one remuneration. There were two payments. I think that so it was October. So calculation of payment was done in October. So I even called to the second bank and opened one more bank account. So dear colleagues, dear candidate, please give a concise reply to a clear question. So please again repeat the question, of course, but listen till the very end, because you're interrupting me. You're interrupting, starting giving us information about bank accounts. I'm not asking about it. That's not a problem at all. So the problem is the following. So next year, you declared 8 million of income. So almost everything received from one company. So you received like $500,000, 600,000 hryvnia per month, and everything goes from one company. We looked at the open data regarding this enterprise, and indeed, their activities is not that small. Let's say it so. But the question is the following. So they declare their profit for 2023, 2024, 19 million. And you have got from them 11,700,000 from them, 11.7 million from them. From the company, which total profit for those 2 years was 19 million. So we have the income, profit, yeah, and it's different. So, but with all money paid to you, it was 30 million. So what was it year? 2023, 24. So you have had cooperated with them for 2 years, 23, 24. De facto, when they paid off to you 11.7 million, this company reduced its its sums which is subjected to the payment of taxes by 11 million. So what did you do for them? So I explained everything what I did. Okay, you said that there were court litigations. Yes, their profit was much higher. And I mentioned that in 2023, their income was 152 million and 24 more. But but that's income. But what about profit? I don't follow it. Yeah, but thanks to such situations, they have a minimum payment of sums subjected to payment of taxes. Okay, let's not go into details. It's not proven. But what about reasonable doubt that our audience could have such income is not paid to lawyers, and I will explain why. So you mentioned court litigations, and they looked through the register. There were three cases, 2 administrative, 1 commercial. Both administrative cases. One is registration of tax reports. They were considered in written proceeding in 2024 by Kyiv District Court. One is for the amount of 85,000 hryvnia. Another case has no information regarding the sum. So it means 2018. It was 2018, and those claims were not considered by you. So and then it was you didn't participate in consideration of those cases. Commercial case. And as far as I understand, there was also no decision mentioned, but the representative of a client was not you, so you didn't participate in court litigations. So, but you said there were court hearings, court litigations. So how it's correlated with your explanations that there were court hearings, court litigations of the enterprise, but during your activities for that enterprise, there were no such things. No, they were actually ongoing, 23, 24, on their ending stage. Okay. Let's be frank and open, Mr. Pavlo. You know, the case of 85,000 hryvnia, when you each month receive 600,000 hryvnia per month, I don't know how important could be this topic, this case of 85,000 hryvnia, which is considered by the case. So that's the case of 85,000 hryvnia, which you shall handle the turn of the enterprise, and you receive salary of 600,000 hryvnia per month. Yeah, but I don't get your question. My question is about proportionality. But I explained, court proceedings, court hearings is only one element of provided services. And in order to do it, I also engaged other specialists. Indeed, it's the court hearings, it was not the key one, the major part of activities, service provided. Sorry, Mr. Pavlo. Yeah, so there were some challenging of registration of sorting tax reports and tax documents. So now, let's be frank, there was no challenging, no appellate decisions. It was a claim back of 2018. Yeah, I didn't do with it. So let's from the starters. So you have repeated already several times that you've engaged other persons. Based on which conditions you have engaged them and how you can prove it? On the contract basis. So you have contracts with other lawyers based on verbal agreement. So how did you pay? Did you pay money to them for this? Yes. Further, when I received payment for provided services from an enterprise, can you confirm it in any way? No, I paid taxes, I withdrew money from the bank account and then paid it to them. Can you confirm it with any underlying payment documents that you paid certain money to other lawyers? No, I can't. So you can't confirm it with any underlying document. No, I can't. Then, in declarations, there is a specific section dedicated to expenses, but it was not filled in by you. Candidates do not fill in this section of expenses in declarations. It's directly envisaged by the rules of declarations, how to fill them in. But you know, it's hard. So you cannot confirm or prove whether the information that you provided is right or not, accurate or not. No, verbal agreements, money gave in cash and so on. And regarding bias and partiality, yeah, of course, I understand that everyone could have some kind of reasonable doubts, so on. It depends on the external observer and their experience and knowledge. The only thing that I can say is that each candidate, when he or she applies to a certain position, we become subjected to a special check. I was also under a special check, and there were no conclusions made after such special check that I cannot participate in this competition or become a judge of this court. So I cannot control what could be raised by other persons. I did those activities in a legal way. This income was received in a legal way. Okay, then one more question. Tell me, each year, so in 2023, you submitted a tax payer declaration. Am I right? Yes, each year. So, have you declared your expenses? Have you included at your expenses for these 2 years of tax payment declarations what you have paid to those people, to those lawyers? No. Unfortunately, for the purpose of tax registration, expenses shall not be taken into account, and it's paid based on the income, not profit. What's your group of private entrepreneurs? Third group of a private entrepreneur? Yeah, of course, it would be very useful if I could have increased the sum of through such expenses. No, the expenses are not taken into account while calculating such tax shall be paid. So everything that I have received, independently on whether I spend some money or not, I shall pay taxes out of that sum. Sometimes it's not fair because sometimes our profit could be much less than income, but yeah, that's how it is.
I would like to follow up in continuation of your question. It's obvious what's your system of taxation. Tell us, please, the form of the declaration itself. The form of the declaration itself. Does it envision this line, graph, box, where you should enter information about expenses, expenditures? No? No, it doesn't. I have taken copies with me. You provided the answer, but I see you looking for something. Probably you want to find something. The only thing that I have here is income, yes. And here, depending on the scope, on the group, the percentage that is deducted. Military duty and tax.
Гаразд. Добре.
Okay, thank you.
Я максимально коротко
I
розумію.
will be very brief, understanding that we have time limitation and that most questions have been answered. At the same time,
Не збирався задавати це питання.
I was not going to ask this question, but having heard the answer to the question of my colleague, when you said that indeed that's correct, that in the declaration of the candidate you don't have to declare expenses, but you can tell us as like what was the amount of the expenses in 2023, 2024. I can, but connection, by the way, is in the declarations of candidates as the person running for positions in public authorities. Depending on that, there is adjustment about my savings. In 2023, if we calculate what I earned, I deducted what I spent and tell us the amount, either in hryvnias, not savings. Savings, I see. I cannot tell you a specific amount. Look, you were asked about expenses. You appropriately specified that you did not have to declare the expenses. I did. I have not seen that, but I can ask you directly. What were your expenses in 2023 to 2024? Maybe you are ready to tell us the total amount. I'm not ready to answer this question specifically now because I was not preparing for answering this question. Okay, you are not ready to tell us this name, so a bit of mathematics from me then. Today, it has happened that each of us has an opportunity to add, deduct something. It would be easier for me to specify these expenses in order to prepare the overall success formula of the years. But let's try, based on what you declared in your declaration. Look, in total, you earned 10 million. That's approximately $250,000. Now, with respect to your savings and monetary assets, so in total, in 2023, 2024, you formed the financial assets in the amount of 200,000. 200,000. Actually, in the form of savings, you have 200,000. In addition to that, in 2023, you bought car Infiniti QX60, the value of which is approximately $24,000. That's based on what you declared. I'm taking pure information from your declaration. Accordingly, given how much you saved and how much you spent on the car only, here we are not even talking about your living expenses theoretically. And then we have the $223,000. If you earned $250,000 and you spent or kept to yourself $223,000 in the form of savings and sale of the car, your expenses were supposed to be $27,000. But from these expenses, we have to deduct probably expenses on your lifestyle, your family's life. Is that accurate if we use this figure of $27,000? These are the expenses that you bore while involving other persons in order to provide services and to take commitments that you undertook as a result of those agreements that you concluded with the contractor from whom you received this $250,000. If we are approximate as you are, then yes, basically yes, probably. As of the end of 2025, I declared 130,000 plus 20,000 euro in cash. So some expenses were as well. But back then, probably yes. So logic is correct, so probably that is. So approximately you spent $20,000 on those persons whom you involved, more or less. I cannot tell you about the specific amount. If these questions was asked previously, I would prepare some confirmation, some calculations, but in request, I was not asked that. So that's why I cannot tell you specifically. Okay, thank you. Alex, we've asked many questions, and please pay attention to timing. We are exceeding the time limit already. So if there are any additional questions, which we have not discussed yet today, please. But if none, I suggest to finish the interview. Dear PCA members, do you have any new questions to the candidate?
Let me see, Mr. Chair, on the screen. No? No, we are done. Thank you.
Добре. Дякуємо вам за
Thank you
участь у цій співбесіді.
for participation in this interview. Now you have an opportunity to address PCA members and Commission members. If necessary, please up to 1 minute. Thank you. Dear members of the High Qualification Commission of Judges, dear members of the Public Council of International Experts, I'm grateful to all of you for attention to me and my answers. I hope I've tried to give all answers as fully and openly as possible. I hope that if any doubts about me, that all the doubts about my integrity and decency have been refuted today, that no one has any doubts left about my integrity and professionalism and capacity to administer justice in the Anti-Corruption Court of Ukraine. I hope that pursuant to results of this meeting, I will be recognized as capable of administering justice in the Anti-Corruption Court of Ukraine. Thank you, everyone, for attention. Thank you. That's the end of